The intro there. I'm not on the intro.
Yeah, I know. And we're real
Producer. It could be his last day. Produced the job today.
What is it?
I just need a little snippet of Big Blue in there.
Do you need recognition? Is that what you
yes,
need?
Exactly. Okay.
Here we are, guys. Everybody, pump up Brian today because Brian needs a little bit of Brian today. Because everybody, hey Brian, you do a great job. I mean, we're glad to have you.
You're at BCB Live.
You're on BCB Live, and you're the reason for the show.
Oh man. Wow. Anyways,
how's it going today?
Doing well. What about yourself?
I am glad to be here, excited to be here, and the producer and I have a lot going on today, and we are just happy that you are our guest host today here on BCB Live.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Do you have anything exciting to do today? Anything that is noteworthy?
Well, yeah, I do have a meeting with Volvo today.
We have a meeting with Volvo today.
Well, you'll be in there, but you won't talk. I mean, I'll be doing the talking on this. So I do have a meeting with Volvo today, so hopefully that will go well because we want our trucks.
We do, and every day there's a new update. I got that dude.
Tell you what, my chili's been hot.
That dude came into my office yesterday. I'll just mention he came into my office and he came.
That's why I had the Southwest International Cup today, Volvo. Just to let y'all know.
So he came into my office yesterday and he popped in and he gave me a different update than I had been given the
30 seconds prior.
Yes, I was like, get out of here. I don't even want to talk to you. Just when they get here is when
I ordered a wrestling ring because I knew they were coming in today so I could get some frustration out, right?
Just a big,
I would
with
have
a bell,
the meetings,
ding, 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 ding.
The meeting's going to be right in here, guys.
Oh, let me tell you, we're bringing it hard today to these guys because this is ridiculous, isn't it? I mean,
we'll discuss that later. But are we happy about the situation?
No.
No,
we're not, but we're dealing with it.
So we're at 78 and
19.
What?
No, 19.
Okay.
That's what was released by the safety department this morning.
I got a problem. Buckle up.
Okay.
I don't think it's 19. You sent it out in your email today, so I'm questioning that. I want to say it's 0.
Well, it depends. I mean,
I understand it depends, but I'm saying I think it's 0.
Okay.
I think it's 78 and 0. We'll let Buckle Up Bob when he comes clarify, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Okay, which is okay.
Just you got to be aware of your situation.
Thank you.
to avoid all
Okay,
hazardous
so
communication.
it's been. You know what? I do like the fact that you can switch on cable. I do like the fact that you can go between Olympics games.
What'd you say? Southwest International Cup?
I do like. So, are you watching any? Do you watch any Olympics?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have the medal count, Dylan? All right, here we are.
You know what was the coolest? When the female wrestler won yesterday.
I saw that.
Did you see the pure excitement of her just on her speech? I mean, she was so excited, and she goes, "I am proud to wear this USA on my." I mean, she was. If you could find that later and bring that up, just that little snippet of her talking. I mean, it's probably 20 seconds, but it is the coolest. It's just it makes you proud to live in the United States. Not only all the great things that come with it, and of course not everything's great. We know that.
Yeah,
We can have more rest stops on the road.
I'm happy that we're at 77 on the medal count. We don't have as many golds as China, but we're closing the gap quickly. I think we definitely have more silver and we have more bronze. Basically, we're on the podium. We're not always up there on the top. So actually doing well. And I think yesterday was a big turnaround. You know, China did really well. I watched the balance beam because I wanted to see Simone Biles.
I watched that last night.
Just to do her very last performance. And the girl that won gold, that little girl, she did good.
She's 16 years old.
She crushed it.
Well, I think it's she had definitely some deductions in it, but her difficulty was so strong.
Oh yeah, it was cool.
I mean, it was like crazy. It was like I was like, how do you backed up with that? I mean, how do you do that in a row?
I don't know.
Like if it was a buffet and I was going to attack it, like I could do some major, like
falling.
No, what she did on the balance beam, the beam there, I could probably do something comparable to that to a buffet, but.
A buffet.
But what she did athletically.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But what she did athletically was
amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
yes.
it was good stuff. And then the hurdles, Dylan, you saw that yesterday, right? The United States came in, broke the world record, but still came in second because the guy beat him out by just a little bit fraction. And he was like right here in the hurdles. Have you seen these guys run these hurdles?
It's all impressive. I mean,
dude, they run and in mid-stride,
this is the best in the world for the world. I mean, it's like every country has their best and going against the best.
These guys were amazing. And they do a hurdle and they don't even miss a step. They just those things are high. Those things are
like
high.
Me and you at 11 when we go to lunch. We don't miss a step.
We're classics. We're professionals.
I mean, we
are professionals.
Yes.
We're professionals. How long do you think it truly takes you and I to eat? I mean, on a regular basis.
2.5, 3 minutes.
It's great.
I mean, I feel like somebody stole something from me, man. If you put a finger around it or an arm.
We don't really go to lunch with anybody else because they take too long.
They take too long.
And we're ready to go. We're ready to go back to work.
And then I have the waitress or the waiter, and I'm like, where's my ticket?
Yeah, when you bring the food, just bring the check.
Bring everything. In fact, when I order, you can just come bring the check.
Yeah, I'll just pay. I just pay now because when I'm done, I want to go.
I'm going.
I want to go. It is true, and we're not kidding. We're not. No, we're not kidding. It's impressive. My wife hates it. My wife absolutely hates it. She'll look up from a meal and she'll have just eaten her salad and I'll be done, and I'm looking at the phone. She's mad.
I get this from you. You're talking and I'm working like kind of normally how it happens, audience. Just to let y'all know. So I'm steady working. This dude's just talking about nothing, right?
Everything important.
Nothing.
Everything important.
It dang sure ain't safety at that point. And then he goes, "Oh, we're gonna do this today. We're gonna do this today." And I go, "What? It's the same thing we do every day."
What is it?
I work, you talk, and then we eat in 3.7 seconds.
I have no idea what you're talking about. That doesn't even make sense. Okay, so I flew, on Monday, and I'll tell you, it was packed. It was crazy. And on the airplane, the pilot said, Okay, just so everybody knows, we are not serving alcohol, and if you brought alcohol on the plane, you're not drinking it. And you know why? Because people are acting crazy on planes. And look, today's not the day we're going to act crazy. All right, everybody?
He mentioned that, or are you just kind of doing a Dover?
No. That's what he said. He said, we're not going to get crazy today, right, folks? My wife laughed because you've seen all the stories, right, that's been going on airplanes. Well,
I did watch the story that we're fixing to speak about.
And this was on a Frontier flight, right?
It was a Frontier, without a doubt.
And the guy touched the waitress, the flight attendant inappropriately, right? And that's what started it all. And then
and it went south from there.
And it went south from there. And he ended up punching one of the male flight attendants in the face.
Well, he I think he might have missed, or the male hit, and then he put him down, and we had some other things happen.
Yeah. The passengers got involved, and they ended up duct taping the dude to the chair. And that's greatness right there.
And then if you listen to the video while they're finishing duct taping, there's some heckling going on too. They're like,
the people in the seats. Oh, I wouldn't have been quiet.
There's a heckle. There it is right there.
Yeah.
There's some heckle jive going on right now.
That's greatness. You know what? And you know what?
And how do you have that much tape on the plane? Did somebody just roll out? I got him.
I got duct tape. Somebody's always got duct tape, right?
I got him. And then that's the person you watch out for too, right?
Well, or when you need to fix something. I mean,
you still watch out for that person. If they're carrying a roll of duct tape, you might want to watch out for that person.
And I'm telling you, that duct tape will hold you in a chair. I mean,
I know.
You are done. I mean, that stuff's serious.
Stuff.
And you know when you peel it off, it's taking some of that hair with it.
It's taking clothes. It's taking hair. Something's coming off.
And I'm gonna tell you, okay, so seriously, you've got to know you're going to jail. I mean, right? You at some point when you're getting duct taped to a chair, you got to realize that you're going to jail. That you're going to jail.
In these days, you're thinking you're getting taped, and are you thinking, oh, here comes the lawsuit?
Oh.
Tape me up! Tape me up!
So let me ask you a question. So I get it. I guess people are act crazy and everything like that, and it happens all over the world, and there's a lot of flights and everything. But you realize you're not ever flying again, right? Don't you get? They're not ever going to let you on another plane.
Yes.
That's it. You're driving for the rest of your life. You're not going overseas unless you're taking a boat.
So he was yelling. He goes, I don't know. This dude must have been just out of his mind at this point. Obviously, he was something induced, I would have to say, because just by listening to his conversation on this video.
Oh, you think he was drunk?
He was something.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what, but he's yelling at him going, my parents are worth $2 million. And all I could think was, what's his name? He was like this. $1 million. That's all I could think about. Man, I laughed the entire time this video went on till it was off, and I did enjoy it. It was quite hilarious.
You know, I will tell you that ever since 9/11, passengers will take control of the plane. They're not.
You know what?
You don't have a box cutter big enough because you're going down, and they're gonna tape you to
the gauntlet's coming down. And you know what? It should.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know what?
Self-police, and it will change people's mind on what they're gonna do.
Right. Absolutely.
Like, okay, I see that guy. I'm gonna go ahead and sit down. I'm just gonna go ahead and sit down. Whatever I thought I was gonna do. Nope. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
A little self-police, a little self-fear.
And take care of
it makes you self-correct, I believe, at that point.
Did we talk about the iceberg? All right. So did you see the iceberg hurt somebody? Not actually the Titanic iceberg has hurt someone else.
What state was that in?
Tennessee, right?
That's kind of landlocked, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but they have a museum. I get it.
I don't think it gets cold enough there in old Tennessee.
Well, it doesn't.
I thought they made whiskey in Tennessee. I guess it was the iceberg whiskey.
Yeah, little iceberg whiskey.
There you go. It makes sense now.
But they have a museum. Here it is. See the big iceberg, the museum that they've got. And the iceberg fell apart inside the museum and hurt 3 people and sent them to the hospital. I mean, I'm not saying that's funny. But it's.
What are you saying then?
It's
I mean, it's definitely ironic, considering the iceberg already took down the Titanic, and now it's coming back for revenge. What, like 100 years later?
Yeah, it's got a bad rap, so it's living up to its name, right?
When was the Titanic?
1906, I think. 1906.
Okay, let's fact check that. I think he's a little off.
It's 1912.
1912. Sorry.
Yeah.
1912. And,
okay, it was close. I'll give it to you.
Yeah. And I knew it was before World War One, and you know, it unfortunately I think that happens a lot in that it takes a tragic event in order for change to happen. You know, like lifeboats on ships. I mean, we didn't put them on there until this, and now they're mandatory that there be a lifeboat enough for every person.
For every person and crew.
And that they do everybody on the boat go through if you get on a boat, you still have to go through the emergency
safety check.
Yeah, the safety class. You know where you go.
I went on a cruise. I didn't go.
Yeah, you did. You line every cruise. You do it. You line up. They take you to your station. You have to go to the station.
The safest station in the nation.
You have to go to your what is it? Your safety station, and where
I didn't do that.
Yeah, you did.
Me and Rick went together, and we did not do that.
Yes, you did.
No, I promise you.
Required. Maritime law requires.
Well, they're okay. I'm going back and saying, listen.
The maritime law requires.
You didn't maritime me.
You did it in the.
You didn't maritime me, so I want something free.
It's required, and everybody has to do it. In fact, they check everybody.
I'm telling you, we didn't do it.
I know you did. He forgot.
Well, they might not have, but every cruise ship does have a muster station, which is just like a point where you can gather for safety things in the event of an emergency on a ship.
Where's our mustard station?
The buffet.
Good point. Well noted.
You might have been at the buffet line when they called for the muster. All right, hey, and I'll tell you what. Let's take a quick safety break, and we'll be right back and talk a little bit about safety.
We're here doing a rapid fire with Gabby. So I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Oh,
Ready?
God.
Are you sure?
No.
Sourdough or wheat?
I don't know what either means.
Bread.
Oh. Eat.
What do you want to live forever?
Yeah. Not get old.
How many pull-ups can you do in a row?
5.
Favorite type of
tea? I don't know. Is there different kinds of teas?
There are. What's your favorite pie? Godfather or Star Wars?
I don't know either.
How many times did you sneeze in the last 7 days?
I'm going to count, especially in the morning.
Are rats?
Awesome. Not near me.
What's your favorite car?
Honda.
Last. Do you know how to salsa dance?
I do.
Fantastic. Thanks.
All right, everybody, and we're back. Here it is. Hey, so it is Safe Drive Week, right? That's what was going on here in the South. I think there's 13 states.
13 states, I believe that's
in the South, and Texas and Oklahoma and Louisiana are included among those.
They're in the South.
Yeah. Well, I would consider Oklahoma in the South.
I'm going to say it's in the South.
I was not in the South.
Okay, so why would it not really be in the South? What is it, in the Midwest, or is it the upper Midwest?
No, I'm going to go Midwest. Here you are, 6 multiple states, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. And I think the rest are, now every one of those I would consider southern states.
Why North Carolina? It says north on it.
Okay, I'm going to go out.
It's further, Oklahoma's further south than North Carolina. It is, absolutely. So why would Oklahoma not be considered the South and North Carolina as in?
Historically speaking, the southern states.
We're going geography here,
and I'm going to go, and I'm going to go in American
So if you're going southern states,
so
it's
of all
south.
those, Alabama, Arkansas, would you consider Connecticut a southern state?
Well, you probably would.
I don't.
Right,
Louisiana,
you probably think it's attached to North Carolina.
Texas, and Virginia. There are 3 states listed that I would not consider southern states. And those would be Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Connecticut, of all the states that were listed.
I would say Tennessee because it's up there by North Carolina.
Well,
yeah.
I would say, just say,
but your geography is a little
no,
tainted.
historically speaking, when we say
your
southern
geography,
states,
it's okay. It's a little
what?
tainted. So it's not, it's a you thing.
All right. I'm gonna go just historically speaking, Confederate states. Those were and those were the southern states. That's where I was gonna go.
Oklahoma is pretty southern to me.
No, well, they were not a southern state.
Because there's a lot of Indians there. Nobody wanted to jack with Oklahoma.
A lot of Sooners, too. Right?
Well, either way, the safe drive enforcement effort is going to be focusing in on passenger vehicle and commercial motor vehicle driver behaviors, mostly monitoring aggressive driving, speeding, tailgating, not wearing seat belts, and driving under the influence. So some things that we already, distracted driving.
Yeah, distracted driving. Yeah, it's going to be, they're going to be out there on the roads. They're not going to be inside the stations. They're going to be out there monitoring what's going on. They're going to be making sure you're not driving fast, you're not driving crazy, and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, what you're supposed to be doing. You are doing what you're supposed to be doing out there on the road. So it's very important that you be aware of your surroundings, what's going on. There'll be people hitting the brakes when they see police officers. They'll be reacting crazy, and they'll be driving weird, and then all of a sudden they're driving right when all of a sudden they spot a police officer. So you just be mindful of what there's going on around them and what's going on out there. When we had the blitz not too long ago, the driving blitz, we had about 40.
And this is nationwide, right?
Yeah.
So it was, I think, a little bit over 40,000.
Were pulled in.
I think around 8,800 were given citations or shut down.
Placed out of service.
Placed out of service,
yes. Yeah, absolutely placed out of service.
So I think the producer said 16% were vehicle out of service, and then 5% were on the driver's side.
Yeah, with a total of 6,700 commercial motor vehicles and 2,080 drivers, just regular four-wheeler drivers. And the most common out-of-service violations that they saw during this blitz were hours of service. That made up 41% of all people who got pulled in. Wrong class license, that made up 20%. Then we had false logs at 14% and suspended license at 4%. So some things that really should be taken care of.
Four-wheelers, I would assume.
Could be four-wheelers. Also could be, for whatever reason.
You got downgraded.
Because you didn't do your, didn't get your health card in time, or registered with the state, or for whatever reason.
Or you had child support that you.
Yeah.
Or you were
So they will do
that.
that.
I mean,
they will suspend your driver's license as well for that, so that you are brought to the attention of the state. So. But, hours of service, it really is crazy that there's so many violations of hours of service.
I don't get that. I truly don't. Yeah, I mean, you have a machine barking at you. You have all this technology that you should use, and I'm glad we don't have that issue here.
No, and everybody here and every driver that we have here does a great job of, doing what they do. And I think Bob and the safety department does a great job at educating people on how to use the logs. We go through orientation. We spend a great amount of time in making sure that we're all aware of how to use our log device and our logging device to make sure what's going on. And you keep looking at me, dude. Why are you looking at me all crazy? Stop.
I'm telling you, do you have a picture of Cousin It? We probably need to pull it up later, because this is what I'm looking at.
So far from Cousin It, it's unbelievable.
Can we get a haircut?
Today, I'm getting one today.
Well, hey, while you're staring at Drive Safe Dave, I think it would also be helpful if people were staring at their tire systems, as well as tires and brake systems were the top two out of service for vehicles that were coming out of this blitz. We had brake systems accounting for 26% of the vehicle out of service, and tires accounting for 18.6%. So those things are definitely parts of the truck that they're going to be looking out for whenever we're going through and checking out your equipment.
So Drive Safe on the brakes, and I'm not very educated on the brakes. Tires are tires, right? You look at them, pretty easy to tell if your tire is deficient.
Yeah,
right.
If it doesn't meet the requirements by law on the.
And then if you can stick a penny head, what's the old rule?
It's usually a nickel or a quarter, but really you need a tread depth gauge to be honest with yourself.
Without a doubt. But okay, so you can look at it and say, okay, all right, that tire's probably deficient. Have a pretty good eyesight fixture on that. I really don't understand how the brakes work at all, because I'm not a mechanical person. Do you want to kind of go through that real quick? Well, because I know you understand that. I truly do not. I don't know. I can't go up to a trailer and go, man, that is out of out of adjustment.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't do it at all.
I'll be honest with you. Brakes out of adjustment are there's several ways to tell.
And that's the biggest way, right? The problem is they're out of adjustment, and he says,
yeah,
you're out of adjustment by past the legal limit, and let's go. What's the legal limit? What's beyond it?
The out of adjustment they can tell, but because of the stroke on the slack adjuster is greater than an inch on either side. They can't be an inch apart on either side of the.
Okay, let's dumb it down. For not only the truckers know this, but everybody else listening. Dumb it down a little bit. The stroke. I mean, what the heck is that?
On the slack adjuster, there is a.
Where's the slack adjuster?
Slack adjuster is
Seriously.
located on the axle.
Okay, gotcha. I know that.
Okay.
I do know that, but
Yeah.
for everybody else, go ahead.
Okay, it's located on the axle. There is, and what that does is, what the slack adjuster does is that it allows for the brake to be close to where it needs to be.
Is that on international trucks?
That's where it needs to, close to where it needs to be, and then it is, and then when the air is released, then the brakes are applied to the drum.
Drum.
To the drum.
The pad goes to the drum.
So it is actually a complicated system. It's an air system. It's a hydraulic over air. So when you press the brake, actually what you're doing is you're releasing the air. And that way when
and then it applies pressure.
It applies pressure. You know, the fastest and quickest way I think most of us can understand how if our brakes are out of adjustment is if you do your tug test. And if your tug test with your brakes applied,
roll forward.
Yeah, if you move or roll forward and roll backwards, and you're just using your trailer brakes, you tug your trailer. If it tugs and it rolls, right, and it doesn't brake, and it doesn't hold the truck, then we have a problem with the braking system.
So what? Okay, thank you. Good explanation. So what? How does that work? So if it's out of adjustment, what has happened, and how do you fix it?
Yeah, well, so the pad is too far away from the drum. If it's out of adjustment, so it's not.
So it can't apply pressure.
Right, so it's not applying proper pressure.
That's how it continues forward or continues back.
That's correct.
Okay, so what happened there for it to get out of adjustment?
Well, we have what they call automatic slack adjusters now that are, and it can be a varied number of reasons. It could be wear on the pads, could be too thin. It could be that the automatic slack adjuster is not working properly or malfunctioning, and it should be seen by a technician at this point. But there are so many things that go into. It could not be releasing the air properly. It could be any number of things in this complex system.
Understood, but
Okay.
what's your key point of typically what happens? Like, hey, this is what went wrong with it right here, typically.
Most of the time, when the brake is typically out of adjustment, it's just a simple readjustment. But if that has to be done,
Got like knocked off line a little bit.
What they do is they go and they crank it down to touch the brake and then let it off 1/4 inch. Then it's back into adjustment. Now, or 1/4 turn, and then it's back into adjustment. But we want a certified technician to do that. I'm not asking any driver to get out with a 5/8 wrench anymore or 9/16 to crawl up underneath there and lock it and do that anymore. We don't really want you to do that because we haven't really trained you to do that, and you're not certified tech to do that. I want a certified tech to, if you find an issue or a problem, communicate it to maintenance with a 39 code, and let's get it addressed by a certified technician so that I can have a certified technician sign off that the brake system has been checked if you have a problem with it. That way I know going down the road, and going down the road, that we're good, right? That there's no, and it goes back to the technician who signed off on it.
Oh, I get that part. So basically you wrench it down to adjust it back.
Yeah, they will. They'll.
And then you bleed it off a little bit.
They back it off a little bit mechanically. By that it gets back into adjustment. And sometimes brakes will wear unevenly. Sometimes you have a broken brake because of it. There are any number of things. It could not be it could be a valve adjustment. There's a number of things that could go wrong in a braking system. But I will tell you that one of the easiest ways for all of us out there on the open road to see if their brakes are out of adjustment is to do a simple tug test and to make sure that the brake holds it.
So that's how we can negate a big problem, right?
Absolutely.
First off, you want to be able to stop. That's safe, right?
Absolutely.
And then secondly, we want our equipment working on the road.
Yeah, I don't want us to be placed out of service for any reason. And it's easy to see across by using a flashlight to looking at the trailer brakes across from the other side.
Huh? If you're from Missouri, they like to go across. If you with Jesse, our salesman, and then like if you want to wash clothes, just whoosh. Wash
clothes. Hey, let me just say I've washed a few clothes in my time. And but yeah. So if you have any questions or if you have anything that you would like to ask or talk about, make sure you let the maintenance department know, and they'll get in touch with you. Get a hold of Ben, get a hold of DJ, both very qualified individuals.
And
get a hold of John and John as well. Just reach out and talk to them and find out. But, you know, if you have
Drive Safe Dave.
I'm available. If you need to talk to somebody, I'm available to also as well. And we try to check them on a regular basis. We try to maintain them on a regular basis, and we always try to keep our trucks at least their annual inspection done. And part of the requirement for the annual inspection is that adjustment and making sure. But I will tell you that they do get out of adjustment every now and then, and they have to be looked at and checked. I mean, it happens.
That's impressive. You did that all in one breath. I don't know how you do it sometimes. Usually you can hear yourself sucking in, but hey, we got to, I think, kick out the phrase that pays.
All right, you want to go ahead and do that?
Be aware of your situation to avoid all hazardous temptation.
One more time.
Be aware of your situation to avoid all hazardous temptation.
All right, and that is the phrase that pays. We will be right back with Buckle Up Bob. Hi, this is Drive Safe Dave. We're here this afternoon. We're going to show the proper way that BCB drops a trailer, whether it be on the yard or a customer or anywhere. We're going to show how we do it. That way we all do it together exactly the same way, and there's no confusion. All right, here we go. Here's DJ getting out of the truck, and he's going to demonstrate the proper BCB way to drop a trailer anywhere. Notice how DJ is placing one hand on the trailer while he's cranking for support and to keep from hurting his back. He's going to walk to the back and show exactly what not to do when you drop the trailer. Notice how he's cranking hard on the trailer legs, trying to lift the trailer, and in essence, he's lifting the tractor. DJ is dumping the airbags, lowering the weight onto the legs of the trailer, and then he's going to release the kingpin and pull out from underneath the trailer smoothly. See, you'll pick up the trailer, you lay it in, it's not too low, it's at the perfect height, so when he comes in, all the pressure will be off the landing gear. Good job. As DJ backs up underneath the trailer, he's picking it up off of the legs. Notice how you're not pushing on the legs, you're actually pushing on the tandems and the wheels and the brakes, what it is intended to do. What he's done is he's taken all the pressure off the legs, he's lifted it, and he's only tugged on the trailer. He hasn't tugged on the legs to the landing gear, he's only tugged the rear brakes. Now we know that the vehicle is secure to the tractor. And that way, all he's got to do is hook up his airlines, do his pre-trip, and he's good to go. Safety can be seen just about anywhere.
Hey, good morning and welcome back. I am Buckle Up Bob with Stale Green Dale today. Yeah, is it green or is it mint? Yeah. And then we've got the producer, who's a little less for wear, but sucking it up. And, you know, at BCB, we don't let them be weak, right?
That's it.
You know, if you want to be soft and weak, then go somewhere else. No, I'm just kidding, producer. We tease the producer a lot, but he does a great job. I mean,
it is.
I had to sit in there yesterday afternoon, and I did okay for a quick crash course. I got about a 2-minute training on it. I did all right, but I couldn't figure out how to get the driver's volume up. We got it to where I could hear him just enough. But again, they're going to train me, and we'll get better on that. Hey, this week we are really focusing on the kiddos, right? School's going to start here pretty soon, and some states it's already started. So we're doing back to school safety, and the first two things, actually the first three counting today, is school bus safety, right? What do you know about the school buses and what's required? And what's required is, hey, the stopping distance. You are required to stop at least 20 feet behind that school bus, not right up on it. And then some of the things they recommend is never honk your horn at a school bus or a child crossing the street. It could cause an accident. What happens is, especially if the kids are younger, it startles them and they run. They think they're going to get hit. They just, and then they end up running into danger versus they're probably safer just where they are because you have traffic stops. So one of the things I recommend is don't honk your horn at a school bus or a child crossing the street.
You know, and Bob, a lot of the times the younger kids like, you know, doing the old honk your horn thing to the truck drivers, and you do that, and then they stop right in the middle of the street or they stop what they're doing, get distracted. And we know distractions have, lead to accidents. So yeah, don't honk that horn.
Yes. Hey, we've got Brake Safety Week. You heard Drive Safe talking about some states are doing Safe Driving Week already, but we've got Brake Safety Week National, August 22nd. So that starts 2 weeks from this Sunday. Yes, I had to make sure I got my dates right. And going on the week, and brakes, as you heard Drive Safe Dave, they are one of the most critical things as far as point getters. Them and tires are the top two points. You will get placed out of service more often for brakes and tires. Now, we jumped into the 66th percentile. I got the results today on our inspections. So again, we are going to start just really cracking down. It's not that we want to be difficult for our drivers, but you know what? We can't just sit idly by and allow drivers not to inspect the equipment, to take it out there on there. And I don't think we sit idly by. When we find something that is actually reported, and that's where we really need action from our drivers. Keep sending in the pictures when you find stuff. Keep doing that. And I'm going to get with the maintenance department too, because if they're getting stuff reported and it should have been caught on a pre-trip and they're not bringing it to mine or your attention, then that's a breakdown there. But we have to get this. So again, there'll be more today at 10 o'clock when we do our rules and regulations show portion that I'm going to do on every Wednesday, right? We're going to talk about inspections. And so one of the things is it's Rule 392.7, I believe. I was transposing them earlier, so it might be 397.2. But it's all about the inspections, what to look for, what you're supposed to check, and what you're absolutely, if you don't check them, you're not allowed to drive the vehicles out on the highway. So again, please tune in at 10 a.m. this morning and every Wednesday as we're going to start the segment of talking about rules and regulations, what the book says, how we interpret certain things, if there's any. A lot of times there's no interpretation needed. It is what it is. But in case there is, we're going to kind of define how the company looks at it so that you all can operate out there in a safe manner and protect life, right? If your brakes are bad, you are not protecting life. And as we see in some of our videos with our tailgating, that's even a double whammy right there for your own life. We are at 78 days without a preventable accident and 19. And the reason we left the backing, we did have a slight backing accident yesterday, but there was no repairable damage. So in the past, we have allowed that to continue the streak. But again, we just got to reemphasize that you still got to get out and look. It still gets recorded as an incident on your record with BCB. So I just want everybody to know, just because we don't change the streak doesn't mean you don't have it. And what we've done just so that we improve our safety and we get the drivers that we want in here that are committed to safety, once it gets to a certain point, we're going to review it with about 5 or 6 people, and we're going to decide whether you're BCB material. So I just want everybody to realize that, that's not a threat. That's an encouragement to just do your job. Really, if you care enough to just do your job, there's no issues. I guarantee you will be at BCB for a long, prosperous career. There's just no doubt about it. But you have to care. And when you don't do inspections, when you tailgate, you constantly tailgate, and you don't reduce your speed, and you don't increase that space, then you just don't care. I mean, that's really the only conclusion we can come to. Now, you may say you care, but if you're getting the videos, that kind of argues the point, right? It's contradictory. It's like, well, yeah, I care about safety, but I'm going to tailgate and speed. Well, that doesn't make sense, right?
If you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk that walk.
Yes.
And so, Bob, I'm going to go back to that brakes. Brakes have changed a lot over the years, and there's automatic slack adjusters. And I think that as a driver, sometimes we get complacent because we think we have automatic slack adjusters. But, we see a lot of violations to where the slack adjusters aren't working right. So, I mean, that's just something that, shop has to be aware of. You have to be aware of. I think Dave talked about doing the tug tests on your trailer. So just, be aware of that, because those brakes are, critical to stopping in time.
Yeah, and there's gauges out there to where you don't have to measure. You just flop the gauge and it's a go, no-go. Yeah. So that drivers can easily check. It may be something we need to look at getting our drivers, but owner-operators out there, hey, get them little gauges. You just plug them in there at the brakes applied, and I believe it's the brakes applied, and it'll tell you whether they're in or not. And you're absolutely right. The slack adjuster, everybody thinks, and usually what we see on the inspection is a double dip. We'll get the brakes out of adjustment, and we'll get the slack adjuster violation. Now, both of them do not count because they can't do that. They can't stack multiple violations for the same thing on you. But I'd say probably 90% of these are just because the slack adjuster failed, and because they are automatic. And so if your brakes are out of adjustment, then the slack adjuster failed. So again, we kind of mentioned it. Hey, between now and August 22nd, look at your trailer inspections and your truck inspections. If they are over 3 months old, get the brakes checked. Okay, we need to pull in. A lot of the truck stops will do free brake checks in honor of this week, where you just pull in. You know, we have an account with Loves. I'm sure Drive Safe and some of them, and Sir Rick, we can get a hold of them and say, hey, we want to start bringing our trucks in for a quick brake check. Make sure the brakes are in adjustment. You know, many things go into it. Your model truck, the brake cylinder has different strokes. I actually fought a brake out of adjustment one year with another company because the brake had a different chamber on it, and the stroke was different. And the officers have one thing in mind: okay, you're not in this range, so it's false. And so, you know, again, I'm very limited in my mechanical knowledge, but it does matter on what kind of brake chamber. So I think most of that's going to be on the trucks, you know, not the trailers, because they're pretty much standard there, I think. But most of the time, especially owner-operators, right, if you've got a different truck, that brake chamber may be different, you know, older models, newer models. So make sure that you know that and what that stroke is for the adjustment. Hey, everybody, we got not much weather, but we will be right back with a little bit update on the weather. Hey, welcome back to the weather. You know, we've got some storms, as we said, right? We kind of told everybody yesterday that this morning when we wake up, right here was going to be a strong cell. And as we look, there it is, all right? So when we put this thing in motion, it was this morning just kind of shifting up the coast, not really going east, mostly north. You can kind of see it just hovering right along the Virginia Beach, Cape Hatteras there, I think it is. And isn't Cape Hatteras in North Carolina? Kitty Hawk, all that right there. Seeing some storms. And then we just got the scattered. You can see it's kind of, as it goes, it kind of fired up and then shrinks there in Louisiana. And then we got a line stretching all the way from North Dakota down into moving into Texas. But again, moving very slowly. You can just see it kind of reshaping, but staying mostly in the same areas. The forecast for this afternoon as we go on. So around 2 o'clock, you can kind of see the big cell moves out and north a little bit, but you still got some lingering one that's going to redevelop down here in North Carolina and the Virginia Beach area. So again, for the next 10 hours or 6 7 hours, you're going to see some storms potential right there along that coast. We've got that I-81 going up into Virginia out of Tennessee and in the North Carolina state lines. And then here's that line that stretches all the way down in New Mexico. Still kind of the same chances for rain there. As we move into the early evening hours, it kind of dries up a little bit. See, it gets right off the coast of New Jersey here, that big cell. And then up there, our northeastern guys, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, right? Potential for some strong storms. Now, this is at 10 p.m., so most of you are home in bed, but be mindful that let's see what you're going to have when you wake up in the morning, because you're always an hour ahead of us. So this is going to be basically 8 o'clock in the morning. So as you can see, let's just kind of push that back a little bit. There's 4 a.m. your time. So from after midnight, you're going to see the potential for some very strong storms tomorrow. So folks, our New England guys, you're going to have to slow it down, and not by 5 or 10 miles. If this rain is going to be as strong and heavy as they're forecasting, you're going to have to cut it way down, 20, 25 miles an hour. Because remember, your pulling containers are probably a little bit lighter than the van trucks. And the pond or the hydroplaning starts at 40 miles per hour, the higher risk anyway. You can hydroplane in any condition, but typically around 40 miles per hour is when that starts. So you've got to really knock it down and be patient up there. You know, got a lot of traffic up in that little area and not very many wide roads. So That's going to be up there and in the morning, and then tomorrow around noon, see it pushes up into Maine. So you kind of get a little break around noon tomorrow, folks. And then this line comes through Jacksonville, Florida, and then some starts to pop up in Missouri and up in Minnesota, and then Texas, South Texas starts to see some potential rain chances creep in tomorrow afternoon. So, and then at 4, you can see a lot of scattered things, Jacksonville still. So looks like we're going to be in for a wet 24 hours for a lot of the country, starting later this afternoon into the early evening, and then into tomorrow. Our winds, still no winds to really speak of. You can see tomorrow at 4, we kind of kick up a little bit in Reno and Nevada. Then fires have got into the 80% containment, so hopefully they're small enough that that won't affect them. But you can see in the morning, nothing, and this afternoon, not much wind to speak of. We're in the mid-20 gust forecast for most of the country. With the exception out here where this storm system is, you can see Virginia Beach, some 37 mile per hour gust possibilities. Now, we also have an update on the fires. And so I just kind of want to show you all the ones we talked about. These are still out of control, but they're not in any service area that we go to. This big one down here is in the 88%. We'll go ahead and touch it. There you go, 84%. This one where the winds are going to kick up, 98% on the sugar incident. And this other big one right there is 35, the Dixie. But that, again, is out in the middle of nowhere, not really affecting our service. The one that might, again, we don't go up here very often, but it's right here, I believe. Let me see. We kind of got 2, so let me zoom in there. There we go. So we got the Woods Creek incidents. That's 18,000 acres, 0% contained. But again, not really by a whole lot of highways that we go. But this one here is right along Interstate 15. 31,000 acres, the Harris Mountain incident, and only 18% contained. So we want to avoid Interstate 15 between Helena, I'm not sure who pronounces it each way. I think I've heard it both. And Great Falls, Montana. So you can see these are the 2 big ones. This one's kind of out in nowhere, and it's got to cross a lake. So I don't expect any issues with that. That's up in the mountain ranges. This one here is, as we zoom in, really close to I-15. So again, we want to avoid that interstate coming down from Great Falls to Helena, Arkansas, Montana. And then we got another one out here in the middle that's 70% contained. American Fork, it is only 5,000, 10% contained for 15,000 acres. Again, not in any highways, major truck routes that we would be on anyway. So that's the good news, is most of these fires are out where we're not going to be driving, or shouldn't be. Here's Alder Creek incident, right? Along 43, so we kind of want to avoid 43. It's 11,000 acres, and you can see the highway curves right around all these. And then Trail Creek is 2% contained. So we do have, is that still in Montana? Yes. Okay. Yeah, because here's the state line for Idaho and that. So all these are in Montana. So we kind of definitely want to avoid I-15, right, between Helena and Great Falls. And then we want to watch 43 here on this Christensen and Trail Creek fires, 93. And then, again, the Woods Creek is out in the middle of nowhere. So just be mindful of this. And just remember, hey, if you see smoke off in the distance, stop and call in. Let's talk about the route you're on. We may need to turn you around for your safety, right? We're not going to put you in harm's way, everybody. So with that, we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back with some videos.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, August 4th, and we do have a few announcements. We do have a birthday, Larry Edwards. Happy birthday, as well as a few anniversaries. So we've got James Johnson, Richard Laudenschlager, Yolanda Turner are all celebrating an anniversary and will receive that $600 annual bonus. So congratulations. And we are so appreciative of all of your loyal service and dedication to BCB.
Here's a great video. I mean, we start out really, really good with, you know, our space is good and everything at speed, but we just start creeping up. We just keep getting closer and closer. And now we're in a tailgate situation. Now we pull right over to pass. Guys, we really have to focus on passing earlier and not creeping up on the back of that vehicle before we do. Let's keep that safe space in there, especially, you know, we're running about 70 miles an hour, so things happen really fast. So let's watch the tailgating and let's, you know, pull over to pass way earlier than at the last second. And we got to remember, we're still in the 100 deadliest days of driving. We're in the deadliest month for driving. Traffic has picked up and everything, so we really got to, you know, stay focused, be aware of our situation. You know, this one here is just a great example of, you know, this guy is owning the space in front of him, the speed and space. He's just doing a great management job. He sees the brake lights ahead, starts to slow down. He's managing, he's owning that space in front of him. Just a super job.
Great job.
You know, situational awareness here, you know, talk about big picture. Look at our driver does a wonderful job of being courteous, slowing way down, let this driver get over, which they should never done in the first place. Look at how close he got to that road construction thing. So great job on our driver recognizing what's going on, slowing down, allowing this driver, you know, to get around him. Big picture, situational awareness.
Yeah, that, you know, and that's one where we should almost report it. I mean, that's great job. Who is our driver? Because they clearly protected life right there.
Justin Hayes.
Hey, Justin. Well, geez, that's not a surprise, right? But Justin, great job. I mean, this is ridiculous by this other driver, and kudos to you to say, hey, all right, not my fault, not my responsibility, but it is your responsibility to protect all life out there, even the idiots, and you did it right here. Hey, I got the space. Man, really slowed down well. Well, that could have been just huge accident. I mean, that was close. It may not look it sometimes in the videos, but that was really a close call. Great job, Justin.
Yep. I mean, you know, the other. Okay, let's go on to this one. You know, again, I'm going to talk about making that pass earlier. We have plenty of time to where we could have got over and got into that lane instead of waiting until the last second, crawling right up in front of onto that other vehicle. So, you know, if we're going to pass, you know, it's about situational awareness. It's about the planning. Get out there and pass, or get into the other lane way earlier than getting up behind somebody this tight.
Yeah, remember, this is a tailgate situation. If the police are there, they can cite you. So you want to be mindful of that.
Yeah, lots of lanes. I mean, so we know the traffic's heavy and everything. We have lots of lanes, so we just really have to be aware. Don't get up there. You know, this car could change lanes at the last second, and then where do we go?
Yeah, 5 mile per hour reduction. We keep our space. We'll still make the lane change.
You know, this one, we're doing okay until we get up right into the end, and you know, we stop just right on top of this vehicle. And I'm not sure, you know, with those railroad tracks there, if we actually had enough space to get all the way across the tracks. And that may be part of the reason we got so close behind them, is to make sure we were off the tracks. So guys, you know, situational awareness. If we're going to cross the tracks, let's make sure we have plenty of room to get all the way across them so we're not sitting on them.
Yeah, and it's a rule a law that many don't know. We shared it the other day with a video. You are required to slow down, roll your window down, listen and look. Even though the crossing has no lights warning, you don't assume that they're working, right? So you need to slow down and be prepared to stop so that you're not stuck on them tracks as well. And it's illegal to shift gears on a railroad crossing.
And so I call this our bonus. One of our drivers pushed their emergency key to catch this. This is not a BCB truck that comes all the way over from the left lane into the turn lane, makes the turn on a yellow red light. Just count the things that we should not be doing. So, you know, if you're not in the right lane to make your turn, go down to the next turnaround or safe place to get turned around instead of coming across traffic like that. You know, that vehicle, the four-wheeler had to hit his brakes pretty hard to avoid from hitting him. And that truck just goes right through a red light. So what not to do?
Yes. And again, kudos to our driver. Hey, all in all, pretty good videos. Folks, you know, so we don't want to lose fact of all the ground you've gained. Yes, we have a couple, and we're going to call them and talk to them because, again, our calls have to become more frequent, more intentional, and more to the point that, hey, look, there's no reason for it. You may have all kinds of excuses or justifications, but it is unsafe. No driver can look at these videos and say that's the safest way to do that. You know, and that's what we're looking for, the safest way. Not a safe way, but the safest way to do that. And when you're tailgating and making quick lane changes, that is clearly not the safest. So, folks, we got to get this. We got to get it under control. Right now, You know, I used to think our culture had changed a lot, and I still believe that. But I also we are counting way too much on luck. And luck's going to run out, right? Sit at a roulette wheel or a poker table long enough. You may be up, but you will be down by the end of the night in most cases. So don't push your luck, as they say, right? Yeah. Press it. Who we got, producer?
Yeah, we got Jordan Watson and then CJ. What do you got for us, Jordan?
Jordan, Mr. Watson. Wasn't that what Bell said when he invented it? Watson! Watson, come in.
All right. CJ, what do you got for us?
CJ! Oh, CJ's having trouble with the mute button again. All right.
All right. Gerald Baker, what do you got for us?
Mr. Baker.
Hey, I just had a comment about something Dave said earlier.
Yes.
Dave was talking about the braking systems. One issue with what he said is our brakes are air brakes. They're not air over hydraulic. And the other thing was he said he don't want us crawling under there with a 5/8 wrench. Well, the brakes don't take a 5/8 wrench. They take a 7/16 wrench. So either way, just just a couple little idiosyncrasies that I heard,
Way to keep him, fact check him there, Gerald. We'll make sure he hears about that one.
Over and over.
Over and over again. Well, producer's taking notes. He's going to have fun with that one. Thank you, Gerald.
Right on.
Appreciate you. Who else we got, producer?
Yeah, we got Cool Dude. What do you got for us, sir?
Cool Dude.
What's up, Bob-tastic?
How you doing, brother?
You guys I'm making it, man. You guys got to give Dave a break,
No, we don't.
He was just trying to lay out the groundwork, But anyways, I just wanted to tell you that the weather's pretty good up here around Hagerstown, Maryland. Everything's rolling good on the highway.
Awesome.
And on the braking systems, I'll tell you one thing to see if you got a brake sticking. If you have the trolley valve in your truck on the dash, if you lightly, when you hook up to your trailer, do your tug test, and then lightly pull down on the trailer dolly valve, and it will tell you if one of your hubs are sticking. You get what I'm saying? You'll feel it pull on the right or the left. You get it before all of them. They should be even.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? When you're applying the brakes, all brakes should brake evenly.
Right.
They should be synchronized. But sometimes one of them will stick or be dragging, which costs us fuel. That will make your fuel economy drop. And also, it can cause brake fires and everything else. So just throwing that out there. Have a great day, guys. Be safe. God bless.
Hey, thank you, Cool Dude. Again, you can tell me anything and I'd believe you because, one, who you are, and two, I have no knowledge to be able to argue against you. But thank you for that, brother. So that's it. So we're going to, we're going to be right back with Mr. Brian Etchison.
Oh, Sandy, I'm starving. What's for lunch today?
Well, unfortunately, nothing that I have cooked. Because of COVID,
no.
I'm not cooking anymore. But what I do have is a freezer full of food for the drivers. We have breakfast food. We have Stouffer's lasagna. We have meatloaf. All the driver has to do is walk in, open the freezer, and make them a little something to eat.
All right. Hey, welcome back to BCB with Mr. Brian Etchison, and we do feed our drivers one way or another, right? You just may have to go to the freezer and do a little extra work.
We are good at eating around here. No doubt about it.
Well, welcome, Brian. What do you got for us this morning?
Well, I was just thinking about Dale's comments about situational awareness and the buses and the stopping distance behind the buses. And, one of the things, buckle up, that I think is really important that we may not think about sometimes, but when we're right behind that bus, we're establishing the perimeter to protect those kids.
That's right.
We are the first line of defense to establish a safe perimeter for those kids.
Yeah, and I know the law says 20, but remember, we can always be better than the law. There's nothing wrong with stopping 50 feet behind that school bus. That's still not that big. That's a trailer length, basically,
yes, it
folks.
is.
So, I mean, protect the kiddos. That's what alarmed me was, and I hope to have some numbers, some factual numbers, but apparently there's been a rise in children dying in school zones.
Oh, boy.
And that's just, that's heartbreaking because,
it is.
Death on itself is heartbreaking no matter what. We're never ready for it. But it seems to hit hard when it's children because they've got all this life ahead of them and it's gone. Versus me. I don't have that much life left, but boy, my grandchildren do, and I don't want anything to happen to them. So, boy, it does hit home.
Yes, it does. And kids are precious, and whether it's in a school zone or out on the road, we can establish perimeters of safety by our actions, and so be mindful of that. Sometimes we set the tone. We set the pace for what's going to happen or what maybe something bad that could happen. So anyway, that's just my little 2 cents there on safety on school buses.
Appreciate it.
Make some people aware. Last month we had 2 referrals that came across. Thank you, drivers. Really appreciate that for. And then another one last week. We got another driver referral this past week. So our drivers are doing a good job of making sure that they're spreading the word, or the Great Commission, as we say. Spread the good news. And matter of fact, we have some good news, don't we?
All right, what do we got? What's the good news?
What about the good news about our new pay
there you
package?
Go.
And you know what I really like about it? It revolves around safety.
Yep. Yeah, and it gives you all kinds of ways to make some kind of extra money. There's just being on the call bonus. There's the full safety bonus, right? In addition. So you have the opportunity to make 6 cents total if you do it all.
Right.
And, we talk a lot about, especially in recruiting, retention. My job, I have an effect on retention by if I can get through to a driver in the training process. But boy, before it gets to us, it's imperative that, once it gets to us, a lot of times it's too late, right? That's where that first line of defense, our driver managers, have to come into play. Fellow drivers seeing stuff, reporting it, so we can get to them before they get what I call the rap sheet, right? Because, folks, we have to record everything. Because if we don't, we're liable because we have this technology and we're not using it. And it can turn around and bite you in the rear end in a lawsuit. And so what we got to do is, once we get all this stuff recorded, we're kind of put in no point of return where we have to let the driver go, because that if they're in an accident and there's a pattern showing that they could very well likely be, we have nothing. They'll say, well, why do you still have this driver driving for you? You see all these little things you've talked to them about, and they're not getting any better.
Yeah.
And so, folks, it's not enough just to, I've heard drivers over the years say, well, just give me my slap on the wrist and let me go. It's not that way anymore, right? That slap on the wrist, as I like to put it a little bit more graphic, that's a nail in your legal coffin that cannot be removed. They don't expire. They're there. A lawyer can use it, even though it may be 4 years ago. If it suits their case, remember, they're just trying to make the jury sympathetic. And if they can point all these past things that happened 4 years ago, it gets very hard once that seed is planted in their minds for the defense to come back and get rid of it. And so, you're unfortunately, in a lot of our lawsuits, you're guilty before proven innocent just by being a truck driver, right? Because they have this persona that they're all dangerous, and
they're the safest on the road.
They are. That is so farthest from the truth. But that's society, and so we've got to fight that, and we need your help. We need the driver manager's help. Folks, you've got to be, I know you got a lot on your plate, but you have to put safety up there first. You have to want to look at the videos more than once a day. You have to pay attention to the alerts. Get a hold of your driver, right? Look, we're going to be doing some training where you're looking at their logs, things that you can help get them on the right path before it gets to us, and we have no option then.
Yeah. Buckle up. Training focuses on the job, and development focuses on the person. And I truly believe that BCB Live is all about development.
Yes.
It's all about changing who we are, making us a better person. I know everyone around this office is better for BCB Live.
Yes.
And I've seen the change. I've seen the transformation around here. And And it has a lot to do, safety starts with your mind.
Yes.
And your willingness to say, hey, I want to do these things. And it's kind of like going to church. Why do you go to church?
Yeah.
To get that charge, that you need. And why are you on BCB Live? And, just something simple today, just a reminder about the 20 feet.
Yes.
That was a reminder for me today.
Yeah.
It spoke to me. I said, wait a minute. I forgot about that 20-foot rule. And it was a reminder to me. And I said, and then I'm looking at what you had down on there, and then I said, wait, it's more than that. It's a parameter, We're setting the parameter for safety.
We talk all the time about on the highway, own that space.
Yes.
Own that lane. Same thing when you're stopped behind a school bus. Own that safety zone for these kiddos, right? You've got to do that. And you got to be mindful that there's a lot of inexperienced drivers out there. We know the population's growing every year, and that means that every year there's more inexperienced drivers that come on to the highways, right? Because we do know, I believe statistics have shown that we die slower than we get born, right? There's more births versus death every second. So that just means we're going to have more inexperienced drivers come up through the ranks. And so it's imperative that the office, that you have the tough conversation with your kiddos. There was a thing years ago, I think it was MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
I remember that, yes.
And they came up with even contracts that they would have their kiddos sign.
I remember that.
Say, hey, if you do drink, you call me and I won't say a word. I won't get mad.
Remember that.
There'll be no repercussions from it. But, we may talk about, drinking at a young age, but we're not going to ground you. We're not going to punish you. But you got to sign this contract and call me.
And, you got to think about how many kids made that decision to make that call.
Yeah.
Just because the parent took the time to have that discussion.
That's it.
Just because they took the time to have that discussion. And the same thing's true with our program here. The information is invaluable. I mean, it's huge. And it's there to make us better. We're better as a team because of BCB Live.
And we have a source that other carriers don't have, and that is our drivers. Our drivers are some of the best. You can hear it in their voices. You can see it in some of these don't. That's 50% improvement, right?
Yes.
You've got 50%, and so we need to get that number up. And again, it's a choice. I'm really starting to believe now, and I think a lot of our drivers are seeing too, that in more cases than not, safety is a choice. It's not a luck. It's not a, oh, well. It's an actual choice. You choose to slow down. You choose to increase your spacing. We see that. And when you choose that, nothing bad happens. Right? Nothing ever bad happens from slowing down and increasing the space. Only bad things happen is when we don't slow down. We've seen us running a stop sign where, again, there's nothing but luck yesterday, or 2 days ago. There wasn't a school bus or somebody in that intersection.
Yeah, holy moly.
And again, I just want everybody to know, we do take that serious, and that driver will no longer be driving for BCB. And it's just one of those things where we're not going to tolerate it. We're not going to, I look at it this way. I don't look at it as a ding against that driver. I look at it as protecting the ones that are doing their job here at BCB.
Yeah.
We want them to know that, hey, you're doing your job. We need you to keep doing that, and we will be tough on those that just don't want to do it. We're not going to count on luck.
It's not okay just because nothing happened.
No.
It's not okay.
Producer, did I send you the email with the signs that we found? I did not. I meant to for this morning. It came up yesterday that, hey, there was no warning signs on that stop sign, and there was. First of all, in the video, there was one. It's not the normal one, but again, situational awareness. It was a green sign that said, this Huntsville left, College Station right, Navarro straight, right? That tells you there's an intersection because it's giving you options that you're going to be able to turn. But it's not the one you think of. But when we Google mapped it and we went back on that highway prior to that, there were 3 signs. There was a curve sign saying there's a curve ahead, and 100 feet past that or so, there was a sign that said highway intersection ahead, and then about 250 feet ahead of that was the yellow sign with the red octagon in it, warning you that there was a stop ahead as well. So, and then the green sign, you had 4 there. Yeah, okay.
Oh,
so here we
there
go.
we go.
Right before this sign, about 100 feet, there is a curve sign. No speed reduction, but just says there's a curve ahead, which you can see. Then that sign, there about another 250 feet. There's the curve we're coming up.
Right.
There's the stop warning, wide open, not even hidden.
You got your warning.
There's the green sign that we see in our video.
Yes.
And it's got the arrows pointing left, right, and up. So it tells you, and you start to get a glimpse of the intersection right there as well.
We're being prepared.
Yeah. And so really, when we look at all these things, it was raining,
Yes.
right? What did amaze me, and I didn't believe the driver when they told me, but I did look it up. That speed limit is 70 through there. And that just dumbfounds
That's
me.
crazy.
When you're coming in these intersections at 70. Now, what we didn't see is a speed approaching that. Now, where I got to 70 was going
reduction
out of that intersection, coming back opposite the way we were going. It did say 70 miles an hour, which sometimes they do open up. But I got to believe there's a sign somewhere that says you just don't do 70 through that.
Reduce your speed,
You got a stop sign. So that's leaving the town. But again, 4 signs, if you will, that told us to slow down, and we didn't do it.
They were there. They were there.
That's a choice. That has nothing to do with luck or anything. That's a choice by a driver to not be safe and protect life in all decisions.
And that's about practicing all the things that we talk about daily.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And again, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, and it's not a threat. It's just I just want to be honest and open. The drivers are open and honest with us. We don't run from anything. When I screw up, I'm hard on myself. So nobody can be harder on me than I am because I don't like it, especially in my position. If I make a major mistake, it could cost lives, and I just don't want to do that. At the end of the day, I get to go home and rest because I know that I did everything that I could, I feel, to protect our drivers and the company at BCB. So, again, not perfect, by no means make mistakes, but we need everybody's help in retention, okay? We become safer. Numbers do not lie in this case.
Right.
The lower your retention numbers are, the better your safety numbers are.
That's
now,
correct.
Our retention numbers are pretty decent compared to the industry.
Yes.
But we've been better. And so you can kind of see all these kind of weird flukes that are starting to pop up again, where we went months where we hardly seen any of this. And that's and it's going almost right in conjunction with the fact that our retention took a little hit. Still not as bad as the national average, so we do a great job there. But we've got to get back on that focus that, hey, educate our drivers, teach them, coach them, DMs, watch them more closely, help them out, and remind them to be safe, that their lives matter to you, to BCB, and they should matter to themselves and their families.
Another fact about BCB Live and the real importance, and as part of your incentive here, when you're here and you're participating in the show, it provides a sense of belonging. And there's no better retention method than belonging to something.
Yes.
Being part of something, realizing that hey, I'm part of this. I belong to this.
Yep.
I'm part of the team. And I think that's what BCB Live does for our company. Brings us all together.
That's a great point. We all have the opportunity to belong to something, and it can be a bad thing
or
and
a good
thing.
Yes.
You got to choose wisely, right? You see a lot of these, terrorist groups, right?
Yes.
They got nothing else to live for, so they go to the bad area to belong to something. But they want that sense of belonging.
Yes.
Who you got, producer?
Yeah, we got 2 here. Alan Arnold and Lonnie Payne. What do you guys got for us?
Hey, Mr. Bob, Mr. Brian.
Yes.
Good
I
morning,
just wanted
Alan.
to throw this out here to maybe help other drivers and to definitely help out the company. All right. When you got these super singles on these trailers, they sometimes the wheels will seize up on the hubs there. Okay. And if you got to get a tire changed or brakes changed on it, and they're sitting there and they're just beating the heck out of the tire to try to get it off, make a simple suggestion. Put a small 20-ton jack in there to push that tire off, push the wheel off, because they could spend 2 or 3 hours beating on that thing, okay? And what's labor rates running?
Yeah.
Especially on a roadside service, okay? I had that happen, and I'm telling you, if you don't step in and say something, they're just going to keep taking full advantage of it. All right?
Yeah.
Y'all have a good morning.
Thank you, Alan.
Great point. I've done that on train derailments where they just want to get that train line clear.
Yes.
And I'll say, hey, can't you do it here and save our tires or our chassis? Oh, yeah, I guess I can, right? But they don't care until you step up and say something.
Yeah.
Lonnie Payne, what you got for us,
My friend
buddy?
Lonnie.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning, Lonnie.
What words of
Something
wisdom
that
do you
I-
have for us this morning?
Well, something I was thinking about when you were talking there, and especially to go along with what Brian just said about belonging, and is the word commitment. You know, not only do we belong to each other, but the commitment that we should have to one another, not only as family, but as an organization, and the commitment that we have to one another as a family and as a company. I mean, Rick and Brian, you know, they just stepped up to the plate and invested in all of us, and they made a tremendous commitment to their people. And I think we have, responsibility to have that same commitment, not only to the company, but to each of us as a family. You know, when you're out here, be committed to your record, be committed to your safety, committed to the safety of others. And, you know, the safety that commitment that you have to your family. I know when I leave, you know, the last thing I do is I hug and kiss my family and tell them I love y'all and I'll be back. That's a commitment that I plan on keeping.
Yeah.
I plan on coming back every time when I leave.
Yes.
In order to do that, that means I got to be on top of my game. You got to put some air in the seat, tighten that belt up, get up on the wheel every single minute of every single day. And we can't let our guards down. We can't be lax on any aspect of our game. And that takes commitment each and every day. And I just think if we always keep that in the forefront of our mind, first and foremost, the commitment to each other, I think that'll help us. That's all I had. Love y'all. #family.
Hey, great point, Lonnie. Love it. You're 100% right. Is that all we got, producer? I want to see if Lonnie would be willing to come back and close us out in a prayer. If not, that's okay. But Lonnie, if you're willing, I'd love to have you close us out in a prayer, brother. Well said.
Absolutely. Heavenly Father, we come to you today. Lord, we just thank you so much. We humble ourselves and we just ask you, Lord, to continue to give us a heart for you and a heart for others. Lord, we ask you to continually give us that faith to help one another and to have a heart for one another. Lord, we lift up everyone in our family and especially our brother Larry Graham. And Lord, we just ask you to be with him, to give him the strength that he needs to get through each and every day. Lord, to let him know that he is not alone, that we are with him, we got him, and we love him. And Father, we just ask that you would build a hedge of protection around each and every driver that we have and to give them the strength to get through the day and to make the right decisions. Lord, we thank you for our leadership and our ownership. We ask that you give them the strength to make the right decisions for each and every one of us. And Father, we love you, and we thank you for loving us. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Well done, Lonnie. And hey, any driver, this is your show. I love
right.
praying. Don't get me going. It's one of my favorite things to do. But here, I want you all, if you want to do that, that's a blessing that I do not want to take away from any of you. So, hey, raise your hand, send a chat to Dylan, and let us know, and then we'll let you close out the show in a prayer. But well done, Lonnie. Hey, everybody. Again, reminder, be back at 10 o'clock for some rules discussion for 30 minutes. At 10 o'clock every Wednesday. And this week we're going to talk about the inspections and Rule 392.7, what it says in the motor carrier book about inspections and what you do and what you can't do. God bless each and every one of you, and we'll see everybody again at around 10 o'clock.
Thank you.
And good morning. Welcome to BCB Live. You have Sir Rick here, Drive Safe Dave, back from vacation. You're looking good. You're looking well. Like the whole look you have going on today, Drive Safe Dave. Welcome back from vacation. A little bit of California look.
Yeah, I know. I felt I'm catching up a little bit with the time, leaping forward and feeling a little good this morning.
Yeah, how was vacation?
It was nice.
What'd you do?
Drove from Tahoe all the way down into the city through Napa.
You went to vacation. You flew to go drive?
I flew to go drive. Yeah.
Wow. And was it nice? The weather good?
It was beautiful. It was absolutely fantastic. Did a little gambling in Tahoe. Did a little winery in Napa, and did a little Garibaldi's chocolate in California. So in little Chinatown, little Italy. Great food and a lot of fun.
Oh, good, man. It's great to have you back. We're at 77 days of driving safe, 18 days of getting out and looking. I don't know if you caught the show while you're on vacation, if you even watch the show when you're on vacation, but I want you to take a look at the producer there with, showing off a little black eye there. Big Blue, he didn't like the Big Blue look. All the attention
How did that
Big
happen?
Blue hits.
What did I miss? How did he get a black eye? What did I miss? Did you bob instead of weave? What happened there?
Well, to go over the story again here. So I was out. It was my birthday this past weekend. So I was out at a pool with some of my buddies, and Chelsea and I both tried to come up on this pool float at the same time, and her head hit my eye.
Oh, his girlfriend gave it to you.
Yep, so my girlfriend gave it to me. Yep.
Little shiner, nothing wrong with that.
Too many no's.
He looks good, man. He looks a little tougher, I'll be honest with you. I like that look, producer. I like it.
I know all about them pool accidents.
Yes, you got to watch out for the pools. Hey, I enjoyed my vacation. Drive Safe Dave. Kendra and I got back from seeing our son up in Montana. Just a great time. Beautiful up there. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm just not the nature kind of guy. I was up there and we did some hiking. 32,000 steps is what we did in a day. A little over 13 miles.
Yeah,
it was amazing. Here's some pictures here of what we got to see out there. It was absolutely beautiful. But you know what? I'm out on
How many days? You were doing that for about 14 days?
You know what? I was good for a day. I did this for, we got there Thursday afternoon and we left Saturday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I could have left Friday.
I could have left Friday.
I mean, there's no doubt. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I just
and
don't
you complain about me
let me
driving.
tell you something. I will tell you that I saw a couple grizzlies.
That's nice.
Out in the wild. We saw some black bear. We saw some bighorn sheep. Saw some moose. The moose is a long ways away. That was kind of cool. But so we landed, and my son picked us up, and we're waiting for like 15 minutes. He goes, "Okay, now it's a good time to go over bear safety with you." I'm thinking, whatever. You know what? I don't need no stinking bear safety. I'm probably not even going to see him. And I was giving him crap the whole time. And he's like, "You realize you're in the grizzly capital of the lower 48, don't you?" And I was like, well, whatever. And then sure enough, we run across some bears. And
okay, what is that?
So I just don't need to be there. I don't need to hang out with the bears, producer. I have no business out there.
Yeah, I hear you. But also, this place is gorgeous. I don't know what you mean you can only be here for 2 days. There's so much to go around and check out.
So I'm gonna go into this a little bit more. So I've never been there before, and he worked there last year during the summer break of school. Doing it again this year, and he said, "Hey, you got to come. This place is beautiful." And I get there, and as soon as I walk into the place, it's a historic place. Drive Safe Dave. Historic, which means what? What does that mean to you?
Non-modern.
Yes, non-modern. No AC, nothing. I mean, I'm thinking I'm out on this. Sir Rick, do not appreciate the historic hotels because they usually don't have. Put me in a Fairfield Inn is all I gotta say. Put me in a field that has AC, has a TV, and you know what?
A mini bar.
Hook me up with some internet. Just give me a mini bar. Give me something, and none of that was there. You got to open up the doors, and it was hot. I mean, it was still 85 degrees, no AC. You open up your doors, and you have the water. And I guess that's supposed to be cool, but it doesn't make me relax.
So I was at Tahoe, and it's beautiful scenery, mountains, everything. You close the doors, you turn around, open the door, casino.
That, my friends, where I needed to be at. Yeah, so
I looked at my wife, I held on to her, and I said, "This is absolutely gorgeous. I'll be in the casino."
No, I get it. I appreciate all that. My son loves it there. He loves the nature. So the day that we left at 6 o'clock in the morning, we take him and drop him off, and him and a girl, they're going on a 18-mile hike that day.
Yeah, no. I did that.
Yeah.
Did that in the reserves.
Let me tell you something. I did this hike. We went up this mountain that you saw the pictures of there,
Oh, yeah.
and it was tough. I mean, it was a whooping. And I can't believe Miss Kendra went the whole way. And I wouldn't have hated her if she'd have said, "I'm done, let's turn around." As a matter of fact, I was kind of banking on her to quit, and she didn't do it.
Oh, my God.
I was like, "Babe, come on." In my heart, I was thinking, it's just getting steeper. You know, I was trying to talk her out of it. But she made it all the way because she's even less outdoors than I am.
Oh, wow.
And she doesn't like to sweat, and it was hot. Drive safe day. It was hot, but she made the climb. I will say on the way back down, she finally met her breaking point. She was done.
Yeah,
It seemed like you were never going to get it to the hotel. It was over there, like it was moving away from us, and I was done too. I was like, my God, just get me here so I can go get something to eat in a restaurant that makes hamburgers. That's non-luxurious. That doesn't have AC. Get me back there though.
So I'll tell you, I had a similar experience on our trip. We walked from our hotel up to Lombard Street, which is almost straight uphill. We got to the top of Lombard, and I Ubered us back out of there because I was done. We got to Lombard Street all the way to the top of the hill. I was like, okay. My wife was like, "Oh, I'm exhausted. Where are we going next?" I go, "In a cab." That's where we're going.
Can I tell you what's not closed right now? Drive safe, Dave. I-40 is open. So if you're on I-40, you're in a truck, and you want to you don't want to go around anymore. It's free to go through I-40. It's open, folks.
That Mississippi is no longer a boundary. You can cross right over it into Memphis and West Memphis, Arkansas.
It's wide, but what's closed is I-70.
Yep.
I-40 opens up just in time for I-70 many miles away to shut down due to flooding.
Okay, now I will tell you,
unbelievable.
This is different. This is not the same type deal that I-40 was. This right here, you got to go a long way around if you're not going I-70. If you got to go along, you got to either go out through Durango off of 160, or you got to go up to I-80 and go around.
And if you're here at BCB and you're going, we're probably going to suggest the I-80 route.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I-80. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And there were cars that were stuck for many hours. AKA all night, waiting for this to happen. I mean, that road got washed out.
Right.
It was crazy. And they said there in Colorado, they had never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, and they don't even know when. They don't even have a projected reopening date right now at this moment.
Well, they could always do what they said in off I-40, just give one, just keep pushing it back, right?
Yeah. Blocked. Here it is, blocked. And you know, just because it's got debris on the road they're not sure exactly what kind of damage to the infrastructure to the road is underneath, and to the because all those pylons are damaged. They said like never before, so they're not sure the integrity of the bridge. And if you've ever driven that, it's just a bridge all the way over that river, all the way up into the up through the mountains. So on I-70, so we don't know how long that's going to be. Definitely going to be definitely a difficult.
Well, what happens first? Does that highway get fixed at I-70, or does the infrastructure bill get passed? Which happens first, Drive Safe Dave? You tell me.
I don't know.
So listen to this. Did you see this thing? Hey, they finally got it. It's unveiled for all to read. So if you want to
argue,
it's only 2,700 pages. If you got nothing to do, 2,700 pages, $1 trillion infrastructure bill. It has been unveiled.
Yeah.
And now the vote happens, right?
Right. Well, they're going to argue about it because they're going to some of it they agree on, some of it they don't agree on.
But it's bipartisanship. Shouldn't it already be done?
No, that just means, okay, just because you and I doesn't mean our wives want that to happen, right? I mean, that's kind of the way it goes over there. There's a lot they want to tack on, a lot they want to change, but a huge $1 trillion bill, right? I mean, it's a huge bill.
Can you imagine, seriously, some of the stuff that is hidden inside 2,700 pages?
Oh.
I bet some of those pages are them just like typing whatever, just to have the length be long, you know, so that the next guy has to read it all the way through. It's
that's why you have
a
staff.
Yeah.
But that staff is going, and let me tell you something. If you're part of that staff that's reading that 27